Magandang umaga po sa ating mga kababayan sa buong Pilipinas. Tayo po ay live ngayon through our Facebook page. Kasama po ang ating ibang partners who are also sharing this live feed mula po dito sa Metro Manila upang pag-usapan po natin kasama ang ating mga industry leaders kung ano ba ang pwedeng gawin ng mga negosyante na pamamaraan para hindi tayo magkaroon ng maraming losses and risks sa panahon ng COVID-19. Magandang umaga po muli sa inyong lahat. Ako po si Rafi Canare, ang Executive Director ng Association of Filipino Franchisers Incorporated. Kasama ko po ngayon bilang aking co-host si Mr. Jeremy Esquejo, ang aming Finance Coordinator. Good morning, Jeremy.
Yes, good morning sir, and good morning rin sa ating panelists and sa ating viewers. So yes, totoo nga sir na grabe lang talaga yung fear na kumakalat ngayon in connection sa COVID-19 and sa pag-lockdown ng Metro Manila. But I believe that with the right information and application of this in our lives, there's nothing to be afraid of. And with that, may I invite everyone for a short prayer and let's bask our presence with the Lord. Father, we lift to you this issue that we're currently facing right now about COVID-19, Panginoon, that despite the fears, the panics that nagsisirculate, we believe that you remain authoritative and sovereign over these things, Panginoon, that this is just a virus, but we have you in our side. Lord, we lift to you the doctors, the nurses, the health workers, and the health professionals na nasa unahan ng paglaban ng virus na ito, that even though malakas yung panganib na dala ng virus na ito, naniniwala kami, Panginoon, na poprotektahan niyo pa sila lalo dahil sila mismo yung kailangan ng mga taong mayroong virus. And Father, we also pray for our leaders, Panginoon, that at this time, may you give them wisdom, may you give them the knowledge on how to manage this crisis, that they would not act upon kung ano yung nasa isip lang nila, but they would act based on what you're implying to their hearts, Panginoon. We also pray for our fellow Filipinos, Panginoon, and sa mga taong apektado ng COVID, that despite the fear na namamayani sa mga puso nila, Panginoon, we pray that you would give them peace, Panginoon, that you would give them comfort, that this virus would stop by your word. And we also lift to you, Panginoon, the businesses and the other entities, Panginoon, na nag-conduct ng mga operations sila, that Father, we pray that the risk will be mitigated and that you will reign sovereign over sa mga goals and missions ng mga organizations nila. And lastly, Panginoon, despite this crisis that we're currently facing right now, we give you thanks that even if this is challenging, we believe that you're still mightier than ibang bagay, Panginoon. With that, we lift you everything in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Jeremy. That's really a wonderful and powerful prayer. Naniniwala ko na when we pray together, malalagpasan po natin ang crisis na to. And we encourage all our viewers online na mag-comment po kayo, mag-like kayo, and you can raise questions na ngayon po ay sinusubaybayan namin ng iba't ibang mga tanong na gusto nyo itanong sa ating mga industry leaders. At kung mapapansin nyo po, lahat kami ay mga naka-gloves kasi in-encourage po tayo ng government na instead of mask, gumamit po tayo ng ating gloves para mas maiwasan po yung pag-transfer ng virus. And gusto po nating i-welcome din ang ating mga audience from different platform mula sa Olearn, sa Lipreneur, sa Go Negosyo, at sa Globe My Business and Talkshop Asia who's currently sharing this live feed. And with that, meron tayong makakasama ngayon ng ating mga industry leaders para sa ating halos isang oras na talakayan kung paano natin lalagpasan ang crisis on COVID sa mga negosyo. Jeremy?
Yes, Sir Rafi. So we have today, of course, the president of our association, Mr. George Winike.
Good morning.
We also have Dean Pax Lapid.
Magandang umaga po.
And of course, past president of the association and from Olearn, Mr. Jerry Ilaw.
Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat.
Siguro, Jeremy, hingan natin sila ng short message bago tayo pumunta sa ating important presentation mamaya na ihahatid sa atin ng ating special resource person. Siguro we'll start with Sir Jerry Ilaw. It's also to help us acknowledge our trade association partners. Sir Jerry?
Yeah, thank you, Rafi. Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. And I would like to congratulate AFI, WB Group, Globe My Business, Go Negosyo, and lahat ng mga partners natin. In fact, we have from WB Group, si Professor Eric will share his insights on how we can cope and adapt with growing concerns on COVID-19. Si Globe My Business, maraming salamat kay Miss Sara Almazan who is here. We also have our partner Go Negosyo. And then of course, Lead More. Si Dean Pax Lapid is here to also share his insights on how we can cope with this situation. We have Pasig Chamber of Commerce, Miss Emeline Kirubim is here. Philippine Marketing Academy, Michelle Ballesteros. Hi, salamat po. And BNI Club, si Miss Mai Sandico. JCI Manila, Kendrick C. Si JCI Makati, Joey Garcia. And then si JCI Alabang, Gia Nasino and Aiza Antonio. Hello po. Tapos of course, si Talk Shop Asia, Sir Rolly Pagaspas. Maraming salamat. And yeah, O'Learn, of course, Jerry
Of course.
Ilaw.
Oh.
Kasama din natin si, si
founder
Let's
ng-
Eat, Pare, si Mark De Rosario. Ako, ito yung very concerned din sa nangyayari nating situation. Thank you, Sir Jerry. And ang ating mahal na Dean, ang Habemus Decanus.
Nakita mo yung akin ka. Ganda introduction. So, magandang umaga po. I'm Dean Pax Lapid. I'm the chairman and founder of Lead More Development. So, we specialize in entrepreneurship and retail. So, makasama kami ni Prof. Eric in Family Business Advisory. Of course, with George Winnicke. At kasama natin yan sa AFI tsaka sa Go Negosyo Mentoring.
Okay, hi. Good morning. I'm George Winnicke. I'm the current president of AFI. Actually, I'm just going to read a small note and message, okay, to all fellow entrepreneurs and my fellow Filipinos. With the COVID-19 taking its toll on our lives, livelihood, security, employment, and businesses of the Filipinos, it's only appropriate that we entrepreneurs take a calibrated approach to this pandemic and all the disruption this has and may further cause us. We should remain calm and accept that this pandemic is already in our midst. It is the best that we fully understand the situation, take all precautionary measures of our lives, our loved ones, employees, and keep ourselves accurately, efficiently informed to strategize, adapt to this changing businesses environment. It has come apparently that we who run small and medium enterprise are the more vulnerable and exposed to this disruption caused by the pandemic. We and the leadership of AFI are taking steps to assist our members, our fellow entrepreneurs, even as we make representations with both retailers, suppliers, service providers, and government partners to seek for more means to mitigate the impact this will cause our businesses. Since Sunday, yours truly have been talking to Secretary Mon Lopez of DTI. Also, last Monday, I was also talking to Presidential Advisor Joey Concepcion. 2 days ago, I have talked to several senior officers of the malls, okay, regarding our predicament. They and other parties involved have committed to do what is best for all parties concerned, including the small entrepreneurs like us. We shall keep you posted on every development support, or breakthrough that we come across. For now, let's all pray and be calm. And please cooperate with the government and the authorities. May God protect us and the Philippines. Magandang umaga po.
Thank you very much, President George Winnicky. Very powerful message. Kaisa po ang AFI at ang lahat ng trade association sa ating pagsusulong na mapalagpasan po natin ang sitwasyon ngayon. And gusto ko lang pong batiin ang mga nanonood sa atin ng live ngayon, ang ating chairman mula po sa Dipolog, si Chairman Eric Caeg. At meron po tayo si Miss Joy Malin from Rizal. Hello po dyan sa ating mga kapatid sa Rizal, si PD Mercy.
Mercy.
Kumusta po kayo?
Pareño.
Yung ating mga boot campers. And ngayon po, ipapakilala sa atin ng aking partner, ang ating magiging resource speaker para mas maintindihan po natin kung ano ba yung mga dapat nating gawin sa kasalukuyang sitwasyon. Jeremy?
Yes, Sir Rafi. So, for our main resource speaker for today, he is a World Bank IFC governance consultant, a columnist, book author, professor of global marketing at the Ateneo Graduate School of Business, and a senior fellow at the IPMI International Business School in Jakarta. He is a member of the Singapore Institute of Directors and is currently pursuing his executive diploma in directorship at the Singapore Management University. Presently, he sits as the independent director of publicly listed Emperador Distillers and Travelers Hotel International, Resorts World Manila, and board advisor to 25 family businesses in Asia. So, he is a known international business consultant ng mga tycoons at businesses at takbuhan nga talaga ng mga negosyante when it comes to business crisis. And he is from WB Advisory Group. But before we proceed to him, we'll be having a short break.
morning. Um, Thank you for this invitation. This is a very brief lecture on my experience in the ASEAN region the past few weeks. I flew in exactly 15 days ago, and if you can see, there's a picture that I am going to show you. This is in Changi Airport. That is the only car that practically was existing, and that was the car that dropped me off. So that's in Terminal 2, around 14, 15 days ago. If you, so it's pretty much deserted. Then you look at the next slide. That's what's inside. A handful of passengers like me who took the late afternoon flight to Manila. If you again look at the next slide, that's the fast check-in area. Again, there's not much there to see. And finally, the last picture, there's really nobody checking in. Effectively, there are more airport staff than passengers. I'm not sharing with you purposely to alarm you, but to make you think rationally. And I want to start with this, essentially this study initiated by the Asian Development Bank. Worst case scenario for the Philippine economy, we might breach almost 100 billion peso in losses, and the likelihood of around 250,000 jobs lost. Again, I don't want to sound as an alarmist, but these are stats called and sourced from the Asian Development Bank. Now, let me walk you through, just to provide you a certain snippet of essentially the past 30 years. This is something that would probably make us feel more relieved. One of the worst, if not the worst, economic event that happened was pretty much in the 80s. If you look at the chart, our inflation was just way up the roof. For those who were doing business in the 80s, inflation was in the north of around 40, 50, even 60%. And it was a tough market then. So that was a period of almost 4 years, starting in the 80s, 83, during the assassination of Ninoy Aquino, all the way to 86, 87. Then it took another dip during the spate of military coup attempts. So that was a period where perhaps the Philippines took a back seat, and it was a dramatic turn for the worst. That is why in our current scenario, it's more of the uncertainty that's spooking the market more than anything else. So again, looking at the slides will in a way give us a sense of relief. There was a very, very difficult event in the 80s. This is as of March 9. This probably would have changed a bit. But if you look at the COVID-19, again, from deaths per day worldwide, still tuberculosis tops the list with essentially, several thousands ahead of COVID-19. So, again, it's the alarming figure of the 80s that will probably tell us we should not be very scared. As a matter of fact, as what we have learned in many information, it is just a flu. But it's the inability of every single individual to become irrational. So again, I'm stating facts here. And the facts are very clear that the COVID-19 is way below in terms of deaths worldwide. If you look at another chart, this is a source from JP Morgan. This is a wonderful slide for business owners. in marketing parlance, it's like a life cycle of an event. So you look at the US, it's picking up. It's definitely heading where currently Iran and Italy and most likely Korea are experiencing. But look at China from a curve perspective. After almost 2 months of relentless campaigns, it has already, in a way, overcome that particular peak. But for Korea, it looks like it's almost there. For Taiwan, there has been no recorded death or infection the past few days. Italy and Iran are obviously catching up and they're heading upwards. And the US, if they don't do their textbook approach right, it's going to be tough as well. So we are nowhere near the curve. Again, it's the fear factor that has instilled a lot of irrational behavior to the point that panic buying is irrational, emotional, and it borders on stupidity now. So if you look at the new infection increases, the large new infection, the limited recovery, all the way to the late accumulation and recovery, where you can exhibit small new infection and larger doses of daily recovery, I think it's a cycle. So it's just a question of when. And that's where the uncertainties would now appear to head. So what are we looking at now as a scenario here? Travel industries, the so-called tourism and travel, airlines, hotels, they have been hit hard. Obviously, the MICE, where events would normally essentially come in heavy, continue to be canceled left and right. So to obviously prevent the spread of the virus. So we're talking about supply chains being rattled now. As I've said, I've had many clients outside the Philippines where clearly with manufacturing companies in China, we had to look for sources and we had to temporarily close. So trade linkages have slowed down and business travel has practically come to a stop. Now, in the ADB recent analysis, they obviously came up with a global impact study, which could range anywhere from 77 billion to 347 billion US. The travel industry alone, airline business, is a $600 billion business. And it is expected that around 115 billion US would be hit hard here. So effectively, this is what the outbreak has created. Now, in a moderate scenario, things are saying that, the world economy will be hit hard, and China would account for almost 2/3 of that world economy. But again, that's a global economy. Now, for the Philippines, and this is where I think the gist of my talk is, in the ADB report, around 0.2% of our total GDP would be affected, which would be around anywhere in the vicinity of around 30 to 40 billion US. And best case, we're talking about best case here, so around close to 90,000 jobs will be lost. But again, that's an ADB study. I can reinforce it with another study which we initially came up with. That's the best case scenario. A moderate scenario would be around anywhere from 65 to 80 billion US pesos and around 130 jobs lost. That's a moderate scenario. And again, that's an ADB study. A worst case scenario would be GDP losing a bit of around 0.6% or close to 2 billion US, equivalent to 100 billion pesos, and a whopping almost 260,000 jobs lost. Again, that's probably, if you compare it with the 83 crisis where almost 2 million jobs were lost, this is nowhere near. So, what's the worst than the worst? ADB came up with its own hypothetical worst case. We would shave off almost 2% of our GDP, which would cost us around 300 billion pesos, or around 6 billion US dollars, effectively cutting around 800,000 jobs. So that's the worst than the worst. But again, let me qualify. I said I don't want to sound an alarmist, but I want to be more realistic here. In the travel industry, which represents a quarter of our GDP, almost 25%, it is expected that we might lose around 30 to 40,000 jobs. And the transport industries will lose another around 20,000 jobs. So you see these numbers pale in comparison to the 80s debacle. But in the interest of all those who are in the MSMEs, or the micro, small, and medium-sized industries, this is what bothers me. Around 99.6% of all businesses in this economy are MSMEs. And that is where AFI has taken the bull on its horns. 99.6% of all businesses in the Philippines are MSMEs. And that's close to, or probably, 1 million businesses that appears to be going to be a setback in the next few months. So let's put some clarity here. The micro represents 90%, or 88.45%. The small businesses represents around 11 to 12%. The medium size is a paltry 0.5%. So if we're looking at around 1.1 million businesses, it pays to seriously reflect on the micro, the small, and the medium size, which represents 99%. So we are talking here of businesses who appears to be legit, underground, or the legitimate ones. Now, those in the underground economy is likely to be more than 50%. And that's the worrisome side. Clearly, because they are not secured, they are not protected, they probably have no documents to speak of, they don't pay taxes, so they're the most vulnerable market out there. The remaining 40% are the ones that needs help. They're the ones that are renting. They're the ones that are effectively clamoring for support, both from the associations, the government, and their landlords. You see, if you talk about food, for instance, and then you put up operating expense like rent. So food and rent alone is 50% of any operating expenses. Then you have labor cost. So when you dramatically are hit hard by no sales, which is expected to hit as much as 80%, that's where the big problem comes in. So I've helped some companies overseas, and their sales, and I'm going to cite some countries here, but clearly, for instance, Hong Kong and Singapore, their sales have gone down by almost 90%. 2 months ago, the Association of Food Businesses banded together, made a full letter, wrote the letters to the landlords. In Singapore, there are 24 landlords, and made an appeal to cut back on rentals. In just 5 days, these landlords commiserated and realized the importance of a partnership. With that show of empathy, the first one who initiated the drop of 50% was Jewel in Changi Airport. And the rest followed. So we're talking about the association numbering 400 members, making an appeal to the landlords, and they were listened to. They also went to their Department of Trade. And it was a solid partnership that in less than 1 week, their decision was very clear that each and every stakeholder must help one another. And therefore, decisions were made. And now, since they're looking at the bright side, the only appeal they were looking at was a rental reduction of 2 months. And from there, they could take it 1 month at a time. So again, this is not new. And that is the purpose why AFI took the initiative, for a very simple and fundamental reason. The bulk, if not all, of the members of AFI are practically within the micro, the small, and the medium enterprises. And they need help. They need help from the government as a stakeholder. They need help from the landlords who are there as partners. So clearly, these things are very important. And these insights will make us realize that at the end of the day, it's more of the uncertainty that's spooking the market. But once this uncertainty will finally pass, things will be better. What I've said, this is a typical cycle of a virus where each and every country have their own, I think, characteristics in managing it. But what is important here, the very survival of the food, beverage, and service sectors are in the hands of these stakeholders. And as partners, it is important that they really set aside profitability for now. I've had clients where they had to take a lot of pay cuts. Each and every one of us has a stake here. And it's important, at the end of the day, when we look back on this event, nobody got left behind. So these are things that we are looking at now. As I said, to reiterate, there are close to 99.6% of all businesses in the Philippines are MSMEs. We are looking at a doom and gloom scenario probably for the next 2 to 3 months. And my advice for businesses out there is to start planning. And just to cap all of these insights, this is really what is important. First, you activate your purpose. Why are you in business for? Perhaps you can answer that in a few minutes. Once you're in business for, you have to think about the stakeholders, your family, your employees, the families of the employees, and your customers. If you can activate that purpose, then you can cement your hold that there is really a bigger purpose here. Once you've realized that, it's time to pivot. How do you pivot now? By thinking about innovation. So let me talk glowingly about the food business. It doesn't mean that the COVID-19 virus can hit us hard and we will stop eating. For all intents and purposes, people will eat. It's a question of whether they will eat in your store or they will go for a takeout or delivery. Right? Most landlords in Hong Kong and Singapore had some argument with that. Hey, you can always, they actually confronted their tenants by telling the tenants, if they don't go to your store, why don't you provide a mechanism for delivery? But come on, 90% that we surveyed out of 400 retailers, 90% were not prepared with this virus. So the mechanism for delivery systems were not there. So landlords should not be able to come up with that excuse. So no matter how innovative a retailer is, we were never prepared at all because this hit us just a few months ago. So clearly, innovation is one, but stakeholder support is important. Number 4, we have to be prepared. How do we mean when we say we have to be prepared? We need to look at it from a curve perspective. 2 months? Let's do our numbers in 2 months. 4 months? Let's anticipate and forecast. 5 months? 6 months? What if the crisis extends all the way to the 8th month or 12th month? I did a planning session in one Singaporean office, and we all agreed that, hey, let's look at it from an 8 to 12 month perspective and see how it goes until a vaccine comes into the picture. Anything less than 8 months is gravy for us. So therefore, it made us feel better that we can weather the storm for the next 8 to 12 months. So preparation is key. Number 5, be a brand that cares. So whether you're a landlord or a store establishment or a retailer, continue to be a brand that cares. Because there are many people trying to rely on your brand. Number 6, empower and engage employees. Again, in one company that I've helped overseas, we asked the employees to come up with brilliant ideas. And they all came up with great ideas. We thought we had a monopoly of ideas. It's not. Employees, when given the opportunity, can contribute more than 50% of great ideas. So we embrace them, we listen to them. Number 7, this is the best time to lean on networks. Your connections. Going to your creditors, going to banks. In some countries, they have already, in a way, stopped amortization, interest payments for a period of time. Came up with rebates. In some malls that I know, they offered free parking so that people can come back to the malls. These are little things. And for landlords, it only takes one signature in one dotted line, in one piece of paper, take a hit for maybe around 5-6% of your total bottom line, but you're making a huge contribution to the huge MSME market. And number 8, it goes without saying that you have to continue to be helpful to others. And that's exactly what AFI did today. And that's exactly what Dean Pax did today. And Jerry of Learn did today. And the countless people here, from JCI to PMA to Talk Shop Asia to BNI, and of course to DTI and PCCI. And for those associations out there that needs help, again, this is an advocacy. Supposed to fly last night, we had to cancel flights going to the US, and this was an opportunity to really share whatever insights we've learned from our experience. So be helpful, continue to be helpful, and be sincere. You know, if you're a landlord, to cut by 3%, is that sincerity? To cut by 5%, is that sincerity? When sales are dropping by 60%, you cut by 5% or 10%, is that being authentic? Is that being a human? Is that being sincere? And finally, which I think I will be part of this engaging session, number 10, leverage on a turnaround. And this is where expertise of Dean Pax and AFI CEO George will come in. The bounce back is important. The science of bouncing back, this is where I think a lot of experts can really help you within your community. Now, what do we mean by bouncing back? Number 1, first, take out the fear factor. It's not going to help you. You'll just be irrational. I know you have bills to pay, like me, like the rest. But the first thing is take out the fear factor. When you have a rational mind, you can now put some science here, which is what? Plan. In my last column, I wrote about an article with the title, Stop Agonizing, Start Organizing. So don't agonize. This is just a flu, folks. It's important to start having a rational mind. So plan. After you plan, you probe. What do we mean when we probe? We scan the markets. As soon as you've probed and scanned the markets, identify where you can still generate revenue outside of your traditional revenue stream. Like, say, delivery. Right? So revenue stream. That's important. Look for value enhancers that will further help you generate more revenues. Your highly and practically so much reliance on mall-based sales, you will now be challenged to think out of the box, out of that box. So put some science there by identifying possibly revenue streams. There are many out there. As soon as you've identified your revenue streams, cost it. Whatever resources you have, put your numbers already. Put some metrics. Again, we're talking about 2-3 month campaign just to weather and tidy you up. As soon as you've put some numbers and cost, forecast your sales. A short-term plan covering 1 quarter to possibly 3 quarters would do the trick. And at the end of the day, finally put your P&L in place, a profit and loss. Now, if you need to borrow money, then use your network, go to your creditors, perhaps explore other opportunities. You have the F&F, family and friends as well. So all is not lost. There are too many opportunities out there. All you have to do is to think rationally. And my takeaway and possibly last statement here is simple. Go back to what Steve Jobs many years said. Start with a beginner's mind. Right? Just reflect on it. Start with a beginner's mind. How did you started your business? With nothing, right? With 1,000 pesos, with 5,000 pesos. So start with a beginner's mind. You struggled so many years. What's your biggest risk here? If you are, say, President George, what's your biggest risk here when he opened Tokyo Tempura? Maybe 100,000 pesos? That's the only risk practically that George will lose. If he starts with an open mind, hey, what's the biggest risk? 100,000 pesos. So hey, do it. If you're MSME, I strongly encourage you to start with those basics, the fundamentals, the bounce back, the turnaround. There are many experts at AFI that can help you or handhold you. Right? Dean Pax of Leadmore will also help you there. So, come on. Have a rational mind and always start with a beginner's mind. And at the end of the day, pray. Be prayerful. I think that's really what matters most in this time of need. Thank you so much.
In a short while, we'll be having a short break. And while having a break, I encourage all our online viewers to please share this page, comment, and raise questions. We'll be having a Q&A in a while. So please share this page because our next topic, our next discussion will be more on the different insights of our industry leaders. So please share this page, comment, and raise question. Thank you, and we'll see you in a while. And we're back. Napaka-insightful po ng ating nadinig mula kay Professor Eric Soriano. So again po, andito po tayo sa ating segment na kung saan magkakaroon tayo ng mainitang discussion. So kasama pa rin po natin ang ating mga industry leaders at mamaya sa kabilang studio kasama po ni Jeremy ang ating mga leaders from different trade organization. So keep on sharing. Kung maaari po sana makapagtanong kayo, kung meron kayong mga gustong i-clarify lang sa situation ng business niyo, this is the right time, just post it, and mamaya po isa-isa nating sasagutin. And now, back po tayo dito sa ating mga magigiting na industry leaders. Hingan po natin ng insights ng ating mga kasama dito sa ating stage. Let's start with our favorite Dean Pax, Lapid.
Good morning. So, quite how to put it, insightful as well as challenging. Especially now, they're asking me to do some insights. I scribbled some, actually my grading sheet, so I scribbled some things here that Prof. Eric did. So, kabisado ko ba si Prof. Eric, magkasama kami sa family advisor nito. So, one is uncertainty spooking the market. Then the other bit that sabi niya dito is you should not be very scared and should not be irrational. So, kahapon lang ang daming panic buying. Yung isa hindi nakabili ng alcohol, ang binili vodka na, no? So, sabi niya pareho din naman daw 'yon, ano. So, admittedly there will be some effects on our travel industry, our MICE, kami ni Prof. And then of course President George, we travel a lot, so we've stopped that for the meantime. Of course, our supply chain. The bigger part, which is our concern here, is the MSME, so which is our micro, small, medium enterprise that really comprises 99.5%. No? So that's the percentage. So bottom line, as I picked up from Prof now, is that we'd like everybody to be part of this problem. We all should be part of the solution. So we all have a stake in the Philippine economy. We live here, we're Filipinos, and we're businessmen. So as entrepreneurs, we should be both leaders and teachers, and we should show to the Filipino people and to especially to our employees and to our clients that we care for everybody. So having said that, with a challenge to do some insighting, I only have two basic premise questions to each and every one of you. How do we do business continuity and contingency in a pandemic? So, there are two backdrop here. Are we really in a pandemic? Or two, are we coming into a crisis? To answer the first, are we really in a pandemic? So, wala na pong denial or para bang trying to negotiate. So, a pandemic is a widespread occurrence of the COVID-19 natin at global levels. Except, of course, Antarctica. There are only 1,000 people in Antarctica, no? So excluding Antarctica. So, the World Health Organization, there's good news. I mean, not all doom and gloom. Is that Dr. Tedros, so in an announcement, said that there's low risk if you are below 50 years old. Of course, hindi po kasama doon. There's low risk if you did not visit any of the countries that's widespread ang COVID-19. And there's low risk if you are not in direct contact with somebody who's already been infected. From the side naman of President Duterte last night, so we all have to follow what our DOH is saying. And of course, we need to really cooperate with our authorities. So, what is worse is not the pandemic, because it is the first time that the World Health Organization says that this pandemic can be controlled. And we've seen some countries already that tapered already those infections. So, what is more worse, I'll tell you now, is a panic-demic. What's a panic-demic? And that's the first key that Prof. Eric said here, uncertainty is spooking the market. A pandemic is, a panic-demic in a pandemic is your sudden, uncontrollable fear or anxiety causing irrational behavior. That's what's happening in the stock market now. That's what's happening to some of the businesses in panic buying of the groceries. So, with that, I now go to the main meat of the insight is, are we coming into a business crisis? I will give you the freedom to answer yes or no. Anxiety, it is a threat to business goals and it could lead to deviation from your original plan. I believe that most of you would have answered yes. So definitely, we're coming into a crisis. So when now coming into a crisis, how do you want to do this now? You need to manage that with flexibility and control. How do you manage flexibility and control? By something on a bad situation now, you don't want to make it worse. As Prof was saying, this could last 3 months, this could last maybe up to end of the year. So, you hope for the best, but you plan for the worst. And his realistic worst is a minus 6% on GDP with 100 billion on money and 260,000 jobs lost. You manage flexible and with control. So, managing flexibility and control, we now move to the planned offense. The best defense to our viewers right now, thank you to Afi and to all the members of the chamber here, a best of defense is a planned offense. So how do we do a planned offense? Few points. One is communications. Please, no more infodemic. Please, be responsible enough not to share bad news or fake news. We are all in here together. That's why this is advocacy. Our time and our talent, we're giving it back to the Filipinos, people, especially the SMEs. So, communications. I've already done that early this morning with my team. So, in the digital world, the easiest way is you want to share something, but you've not proven. There are only two things comes to help. That's the World Health Organization and, of course, your DOH. Now, when it comes to now to business, it's you as the business leader. Your policies should be clear and concise. I like the last 8 or 9 points of Prof. Eric, that you have to be helpful. I will call that employees' needs. You have to do compassion with flexibility. You want to extend maybe the sick leave benefits or the vacation leave. You want to make sure that you don't risk your employees in travel. You have to restrict your travel within almost nothing. Yeah? So you have to, nothing at all. You follow the NCR and all your community quarantine. Remote work, very, very important. As business leaders, as entrepreneurs, HQ only on skeletal staff. Only those that are essential in managing your businesses. The supply chain, you better make sure that you know your inventory levels, your order quantity, alternative sources, or even your substitute. In the end, when it was a stable economy, what you wanted is all market penetration, you wanted sales, you want market share. In an uncertain situation, like what Prof. Eric said here, uncertainty spooking the market, is you need resilience. First, you survive through this challenge. Next, you thrive. You try, you cry, you fry, which means you suffer, but continue to fly. I'll repeat. That's the book of President George, The Bounce. So, try, cry, fry, but continue to fly. If you are not ready for this, then I don't think you're a businessman. The real leaders, you try, you cry, you fly before you fly. Okay, so what else? He mentioned about business forecasting. So business tracking and forecasting. Crisis will create unpredictable changes. You need to understand your business issues rapidly, and you have to have regular reports. The most important is cash position. Your current cash reserves, you have to compute how many months will that last versus the pandemic. The objective, of course, is you better make sure that your business is operational and then should recover after everything has quieted down. As I said, stable economy is all penetration. In a crisis economy, is about resilience. So, I guess, how do you now want to do your crisis management? You set up a crisis team. You have to set up a crisis team. You have to identify the business issues, which is employee, your customers. You have to identify your supply points as well as your cash. And then you plan, you hope for the best, you plan a realistic worst. A big gamble, you continue your jogging as if nothing has interruptions of operations. You accommodate or you negotiate for rents and all other monthly expenses. And of course, you need to communicate the changes in your workflow. I will end. And this is my prayer this morning, and this took me in Isaiah 40:28. He never grows tired or weary. He strengthens those who are weak and tired. Those who trust in the Lord for help will find the strength to you. Remember, God is all you need until you realize that God is all you help. Maraming salamat.
Amen.
Ang galing. Ang galing ni Dean Pax, no? Galing
Insight.
talaga. Very insightful. Malalim ang silang dalawa ni Professor Eric. Ang galing na kalipas. Ang bottom line ng kanilang sinasabi is really to plan. It's not yet too late, no? Nasa early part pa naman tayo. Alam natin, last year medyo nagsisimulan to. Pero today is the right time. And this session is really helping us to really, ano ba yung pwede nating mga gawin? So kaya, stay tuned lang kayo dyan. Keep sharing. Pakinggan yung mabuti yung mga sinishare natin. Kasi marami kayong mapupulot na pwede nating gamitin kapag bumalik kayo sa kumpanya ninyo at nag-replanning kayo. So let's hear from our President George. Meron siyang gustong i-share na case study, Sir George.
Okay. Good morning. Since Monday, I've been talking to people. I've been absorbing their anxieties. Okay, more often times their fears. An average entrepreneur per day is 15 people per day. My wife is asking me to turn off the phone already. But it is our duty to help our fellow entrepreneurs. Okay, what's causing the anxiety is fear. Let us not make fear control us. Let us control fear. That's the problem. If we have fear, we lose sight. We lose sight of our plans. 3 weeks ago, I have seen what's happening in China, what's happening in Singapore. So 3 weeks ago, me and my key people in the office already planned a contingency plan for this one. Some of them said, masyado ka naman paranoid, sir. I don't think mangyayari yan. But, I think 3 weeks ago, we had plans that easily be activated. Okay? So, let's control fear by acknowledging the fear. Once we acknowledge the fear, automatically, we will understand the fear. Once we understand, we can now strategize. And then, we can create our action plan. And of course, we have to act on it immediately. Okay? Yeah, the other day, a fellow member called. President George, walang pumapasok sa glutas pa ko. That's it. I have no more cash flow. Wala nang pumapasok. I told her, do you have plans? Sabi niya, wala. Wala akong plano. I don't know what to do. I'm doomed. Okay? So I told her, relax. Let's do some rationalization. I told her, how much is your operating expenses per spa store? She told me, it's 120,000 per month. And then, I told her, compute 120,000 pesos to 5 stores. That will give you 600,000. When I told her the amount 600,000, I told her, yan ang tatama sa'yo, 600,000. So natakot siya. Takot siya. Oh my God, saan ako kukuha ng 600,000? I told her, how much is your savings? Your company savings, ha? Hindi personal savings. My company savings is 4 million. Sabi ko, so multiply mo. 600 divided by 4 million is around 6 months. So you're 6 months to live. You can support your company for 6 months. Very clear sa kanya. Very clear and now very clear that she can acknowledge and she can understand. Now the strategy that I told her is to lower the 120. The 120 operating expenses per store. So sabi niya, anong gagawin ko, Sir George? Most probably, okay, the first step is to talk to your landlord. Landlord talaga ang key dito eh. Because we control inventory, we can control people, but we cannot control the landlords. Okay? Since she was outside the mall, okay, she can opt to use her advance rent or deposit. Magsarado ka muna ng 3 buwan. You're still okay. Your 120, ang kukunin mo na lang dyan is the labor. Sabi niya, when he saw the whole plan, she said, I will do this. Kasi kita niya eh. So, you are now prepared for the impact. Your company is now prepared for the impact. But, sabi ni Prof. Eric, you have to innovate to survive also. Tinawagan ko last night. No. Open ka. Shorten the operation hours. But, highlight the side effects or the effects of gluta. Di ba? Gluta can increase resistensya. Okay? With a boost of 1,000 milligram of vitamin C. Sabi niya, wow, sir. Tell your existing customer, okay, to cascade that information for your customers. And I'm pretty much sure they will all run to you. Alcohol nga, pinipilahan, tsaka vitamins eh. Ito, vitamins nilalagay sa katawan natin. So again, okay, looking at the whole thing, tama si Prof. Eric. Sanay tayo sa mindset na beginner's mindset. Okay? We have faced all the challenges when we were starting. This is not new to us. Let's control fear. And I'm really hoping that the mall owners, the mall operators will really understand our predicament. I'm appealing to you, guys. We're supposed to be partners. I know we're partners, but help us now. This is the time that we need your help. SM, Robinsons, Ayala, we need your help.
Very detailed yung binigay. No?
Oo.
It's really a case
Case.
na pwede mong maging reference ngayon on how you will position your business in the midst of this crisis. So, kailangan mag-compute ka, i-project mo lahat, i-revisit your savings kung paano mo to magagamit. Kaya ka nga nagsisave eh, di ba? Para sa mga ganitong situation, pwede mo siyang gamitin. So, that's really a good input. So, at this time, we are encouraging questions from our online viewers. And in a while, pupunta po tayo sa kabilang studio para ipakilala natin ang ating mga allied partners. Pero ngayon po may mga questions tayo. Kanina, meron ako nakita kay Mr. Nazareth. Tinatanong niya na yung kanyang partner is still in denial na merong nangyayaring problema. So paano ba niya, siguro is pertaining to partners, no? Paano ko ba mo-convince ko na yung partner ko na there's a problem? And paano ba tayo magko-convene para tulungan siya ng kanyang partner? And this is addressed to Professor Eric.
Well, if he is in denial, the only remedy there is to confront him with facts. No? Facts would normally address the issue of, again, irrational behavior and uncertainty. So show him the facts. If he is still in denial, maybe he's not really a good partner to start with.
That's true.
And it's time to consider seriously discussing where this business will head, no, in the future. So that's how I look at it. Confront any issue at all. If you confront it with real facts and figures, will perhaps make them realize the importance of doing some decisive action. But if that option is no longer possible, maybe it's time to consider looking for another partner.
So I'll just i-compliment ko lang sabi ni partner Eric ko dito. So, facts and figures. So, I will ask the entrepreneurs ngayon, who does cash position every Monday? Pag kayo ay negosyante, you need your cash position at the start of the week. Alam mo ano ang iyong gagawin disbursement at saka receipts mo for the week. Para alam mo ano yung ibubulsa mo, ano yung ilalagay mo sa bank account, ano yung ilalagay mo sa investment account. Again, these are practices that we do. A more high level or high network clients namin ni Prof. Eric, we do an operational review using the financial perspective. Remember, cash and your finances on facts and figures is the bloodline and the blood flow of your business. You start business with cash, it should end with more cash. If your partner sees that you're not getting enough cash anymore, sorry sipain mo na. Ibig sabihin, tutulog-tulog siya. Tama si Eric doon that he doesn't deserve the partnership. So you're not a real businessman. Again, I call upon all the entrepreneurs ngayon, no? So do your cash positions every week and you will see weekly whether you're recovering or you're deteriorating. If you're deteriorating, it means your strategies or your short-term actions are not commensurate to the challenge ahead.
Actually, Dean, Prof, there's a big learnings here. Entrepreneurs, especially the small entrepreneurs, their company is only based on cash flow.
Day-to-day.
Cash flow basis. Meaning to say,
Cash accounting.
hindi nila tinatago yung net profit. They don't separate the net profit. Nakahalo siya sa isang account.
Yeah.
Okay? That is the problem now. Okay? Ang ginagawa nila, maghihintay sila ng pera to pay the rent. Maghihintay sila ng sales to pay the suppliers. So this is what's happening. Patay. Putol ang cash flow. So how will you survive? And that's why I always tell people, okay, on a monthly basis, on a weekly basis, try to create your profit-loss analysis. Get the net profit, put it in a separate bank. Maswerte ako that for 7 years, I've been doing this. Naaway ko ng accountant ko. It will destroy the recording. No! I will like to move, to get the net profit. The net profit. For small restaurants, do a weekly P&L. Okay? Even with your taxes, alisin nyo na. Yung VAT nyo, lagyan nyo sa isang bangko. That's self-discipline. That's why this girl he will survive for 6 months. Because all her net profit, naka-separate. That's her life.
Ito sa aming past president, si Ms. Tescan siya, na when you do plan, bago yung maraming strategic planning na yan, financial planning muna, i-position nyo muna lahat, ilabas yung mga facts, para pag yung mga partners mo, investor, pakita mo yung realidad. No? Napakahalaga po nun. So may mga pumapasok tayong mga tanong sa ating online. Marami tayo dito ay mga mall tenants. No? Sir George, this are addressed to you. Si Mr. Opras Ocampo, one of our Go Negosyo mentor, is asking na, is there a move with all this organization and AFI na negotiate with our mall owners para magkaroon ng adjustment sa ating rental. Sir
Guys,
George?
to my fellow entrepreneurs, please try to be understanding also. Okay? Hindi po natin makukuha to sa init ng ulo. Okay? There are talks already with the mall owners. Okay? DTI is also helping us. PA Joey is initiating a meeting to talk to the tycoons. But guys, okay, wag naman yung waive the rent, 'di ba? I mean, let's be reasonable and fair, okay, to each other. Let's have that balance. Tama, Prof. Eric, no?
Yes.
You don't want to antagonize them at this point. They're in the leverage position. That's the reality of life, di ba? So, there are moves, and they're willing to listen. Talk to several, I talked to two presidents of a mall. They're willing to listen to us, and they're willing to help. Let's just be hopeful.
So abangan natin yung magandang development na yan. So alam ko through Presidential Advisor Joey Concepcion and Sir George, next week magkakaroon niya ng mga malalaking development. So abangan niyo po, i-update namin kayo. At this moment, gusto kong ibigay kayo sa kabilang studio kung nandun na aking partner na si Jeremy. Kasama po ang ating mga industry leaders from different trade organization for their questions and short messages. So Jeremy, kumusta dyan sa kabilang studio?
Okay, yes, Sir Rafi. So we really encourage our online viewers to post your comments and your insights so that this forum could be more of an interaction. So I have here with me the list of partners for this forum: WB Group, Globe My Business, Go Negosyo, Lead More, Pasig Chamber of Commerce, Philippine Marketing Association, BNI Club, JCI Manila, JCI Makati, JCI Alabang, Talk Shop Asia, and Olearn. So I have here with me representatives of some of our partners here na nag-risk, and we're really thankful that pumunta sila para they would be knowledgeable on how to help their members and constituents. So right now, we'll be asking for their insights and questions. So meron po ba kayong questions or insights for this forum? Okay, ma'am. May you please introduce yourself and the organization you're representing po.
Hi everyone, I'm Mitch Ballesteros. I'm the CEO and founder of Xlink Management and Marketing Services Corporation. It's Xlink Events. We're actually a MICE company. I'm also representing here Pasig City Chamber of Commerce, and I'm also the Vice President for Philippine Marketing Association. I'd like to be positive despite this crisis that we have, because according to a Chinese proverb, any crisis would open us an opportunity. And the silver lining amidst this, parang Miss Universe, ano? It's an equalizer, actually, for all of us. It's making us understand that all people, despite the marketing competition, the business competition, we all need to come together and solve this crisis that we're facing. It's a great equalizer because we're seeing now how would people solve this together. That if we don't agree with each other, we don't cooperate, we cannot overcome this. As a marketeer and a businesswoman for almost 2.5 decades, I've been through a lot of ups and downs. And the beginner's mindset is always basic for me. It's a call for us to go back to the basic. And I think the most relevant marketing strategy right now is marketing for humanity. Okay? How would your business address the concern for people beyond the product that we're offering to our people? Should be the significance of this product to the health, to the humanity, to being of the people around us and to the world. Of all the piece of sustainable business, people, product, profitability, and planet. Now is the time that we need to rethink how would our services and product and business address the humanity. Let's say, from the example of Mr. George Winnicke, the glutas spa, beyond the product of a glutas spa is the resistance that it's giving to humans so that they can combat the threat for health because of the COVID-19. So the other businesses should think also, how would your business be relevant so that you can serve the purpose to the human health and to the planet also. Kasi without this, of course, we cannot survive. And I think strategically, we need to allot, not the worst, because we have to coexist with them, no matter what happens. This is the most challenging part of our humanity right now. How do we survive despite all of these viruses and bacteria that would come along and challenge the lives of our people and our planet? So beyond the competition in the business, beyond the marketing strategies and competition, we need to think, how would we serve our purpose as business leaders so that we can survive this health crisis for now? There will be more challenges later on. How do we cope with this? As having COVID-19 as a great equalizer, we need to learn from this and put, I think, 2 steps backward, but more steps forward after this. So, thank you.
Any insights also, ma'am?
Is this good? My name is Emily Kerubin. My company is Materiales Fortress Philippines Inc. I also own other businesses. I represent the Pasig City Chamber of Commerce, and I was also a past vice president of Business Network International. And I don't know if there's a representative from DTI here. I know they're supposed to be here. Basically, just like what Sir George said, that AFI has been talking to business owners, landlords, presidents of malls, to discount on the rents. From the Chamber of Commerce, basically we at the local level, local city level, we are the business partners of the local government units. I hope that we would also be able to come up with discussions with the local governments if they can give us a moratorium on the fees that we need to pay, the leeway in terms of payments and dues and taxes, knowing that this crisis is really affecting all types of businesses. So that's my take there. I hope that we'll be able to gather a lot of other local chambers as well to really talk to a lot of local government units and maybe the PCCI head office. And also as a business owner, personally, when everyone was already scared about COVID-19, I was just laughing until last Monday my sister called me and she said, you said that COVID-19 is not gonna get worse in the Philippines, because my belief is, Metro Manila, we're very sturdy as individuals. We mga kagaw na yan, wala lang yan binatbat against the streets of Manila, right? So I was like, hindi yan aakyat ang numbers. But it's here. And coming from a business background, that there's always a contingency plan and plans for business as usual. Now, when it hit, I'm glad that we have business leaders who are also advising this to our people. We need to continue business. We cannot just allow this fear to overcome us. So kaya natin to. Supportahan natin ang isa't isa, tayong mga negosyante. Let's talk, let's continue talking and discussing. So we'll be able to get the support of the government and the support of other businesses as well, especially the landlords. That's all, Jeremy.
Thank you, ma'am, for sharing those insights. And I think the other speakers have something to share.
Okay, thank you to our friends in Pasig Chamber of Commerce, si Ma'am Mitch at si Ma'am. Meron lang tayong pumasok na question dito regarding the contingency team. No? It's like a emergency team.
Yes.
So how do we address it kapag masyadong lean yung organization, very small? I think Dean Pax has something to add on that.
When I used to work for Shell, ang crisis team namin, 15 yata yun. Pero ito ngayon, just this morning, I convened my crisis team. So the basic premise there is who generates the cash and who holds the cash. Ulitin ko the basic premise to form your crisis team, who generates the cash, which means yun yung operations and marketing mo. Who holds the cash? That's your finance or your accounting. Of course. So, pwede kang tatlo lang. So, ikaw ang presidente. Ngayon, kung si Mrs. ang iyong may hawak ng cash, di ba? And of course, yung iyong marketing and operations, tatlo. Ngayon, kung kaya mo 5, then I'll put it in a balanced scorecard. You've got your HR for your employees and your infrastructure. You've got your operations, which are your 4 processes. You've got your marketing, which are for your customers and clients. You've got your finance, which is for your money. And then you've got your stakeholder, which is the founder or the president. So 3 or 5 bigger companies, like me before, 15. So 3 or 5, basta ang premise natin, who generates the cash and who holds the cash.
Ganda. Ganda, Master Dean. I'd like to acknowledge Globe My Business. They're supporting this activity now. Okay? I'd like to say hi also to Vince Rodriguez.
Tayo
He's
automatic
watching.
sumagot.
So, Dean, Prof,
Ayan.
what's gonna happen? What do you think? Saan ang punta natin ngayon?
To dovetail on the crisis issue, there are 2 kinds of crisis. One that is sudden and very disruptive. One is something that you anticipate will happen. So, hey, this is something that we anticipated, and therefore, we can plan.
Yeah.
As opposed to a sudden, katulad niyang nasunog, biglaan, pagising mo, wala ka na, natupok na. This one is planned. This is not abrupt. And therefore, is something that we can plan. Now, if you are a small business, like what Dean Pax mentioned, husband and wife tandem, all you have to do is to, again, talk about your cash flow and how you can generate sales. Because clearly, cash flow is so correlated to sales. Sabi ko nga sa mga small businesses, your biggest truth is your bank balance, di ba?
That's true.
So, that's pretty much what accounting is all about. So, if you can look at your bank balance, you can plan ahead, talk to your accountant, you can rationalize your resources. It's not a knee-jerk reaction to possibly consider doing some balancing on scheduling of employees. But there was one question raised earlier. Will the government support? I know that there are laws that provide support, especially for those that have been dislocated or disrupted, employees. Now, my advice to the government, come on, we are in an emergency, therefore, you can always ask for supplemental budgets to reinforce your budget that was never part of the whole equation. So, go to Congress. Congress, if they have a heart and they have the resolve, supplemental budgets on labor and possibly small business subsidies should be the order of the day. And you don't need to be reminded. It is your duty and obligation to really push this because, again, we're in for a tough ride, but it's never the end of the world. That's why every time there's an adversity, there's always a silver lining. But you have to act because speed here is critical.
I see. Actually, this week and next week, it's going to be a new norm. People will accept this new norm already. Okay, so alam nyo naman ng Pilipino, they can easily adjust. So again, ako naman, let's stick to innovation. Entrepreneurs, let's stick to innovation. I'm also appealing to our partners like Grab, Lalamove, the other partners. Please try to organize something to help us. Okay? Especially the industry from the food. Okay? Kung ayaw pumunta ng customer sa mall, okay, dali na lang natin ang produkto natin via this group.
Lower your fees.
Lower your fees, remove
Lower your
ano.
fees. That's 30% add-ons eh.
Oh,
Lower it.
Lower it. Yung joining fee, etc.
Yeah.
But you have the volume naman eh. So please, if you're listening, help us.
We would like also to thank Globe My Business for supporting us today. They have a very, very useful program na pwedeng gamitin ng mga SMEs, especially kapag may mga remote employees na sa bahay nagtatrabaho. Watch out next week. Globe My Business will be sharing with us the technology that we can use lalo na sa mga ganitong klase ng crisis. So balik po tayo sa kabilang studio. Nandun po si Jeremy para may question po tayo from our industry leaders. Jeremy?
Yes, I think we have questions from some of our industry leaders here. Okay. Anyone? Si Ma'am. Yes.
Yeah. Being in business for almost 2.5 decades, I'm just wondering lang, the SSS, sa social security system, there are employee share and employee share. Maybe we can have some sort of an emergency budget for the businesses. Anyway, the companies are paying it, and it's much per month, depending on the number of employees you have. And the employer share part, maybe we can use it as an emergency subsidy for the OPEX of some businesses, especially those that are really compliant on it. Kasi there are things that we pay to the government that are still gray area when it comes to the benefits that the company is receiving. Maybe the government can check into it so that we can have a supplemental funds from these things. Thank you.
Any questions po? Insights. We have here from BNI Star.
Hi, my name is Mais. Professionally, I'm the CEO and founder of PMCM Events Management, and I'm currently the Growth Chapter Coordinator of BNI Star. And BNI is a group of business people, business owners, and we've been chatting and talking about the work arrangement. So for the next weeks or months, if this worsens, we're thinking about sending our staff to work at home. But most of us, we have services or manufacturing kind of business. Therefore, we feel that work from home will not work for this kind of businesses. It will really affect our business, to be very blunt and straightforward about it. But what is your suggestion in terms of service-oriented companies? I'm into events. I have a lot of canceled events already, and it really affects my cash flow. How will we survive if we send our staff to work from home? How can we monitor them? Or will it be recommended or highly suggested to send them at home or give them a 4-day or 3-day working hours? So that they can report in the office and to, of course, minimize the transmission or for them to get infected by this virus, because we don't know until when. So anyone can answer, please.
Kasi, it depends on what department, no? Of course, my commissary I have to open my commissary. My commissary has to service the franchisees. Okay? So, ang ginawa ko lang ay I limit the people in terms of going to the office. First is, cut to half. Okay? May papasok ng Monday, Tuesday. Tapos magbabakasyon sila. Papasok yung isa. Then, I also change the hours, the opening hours, para hindi sumabay sa rush hours. Kasi that's the risk eh. Okay? That's the risk. Okay? Maaga rin sila uuwi para hindi sila sumabay sa mga uuwi. Okay? For the office, the admin, we can activate the work at home system. Kasi monitoring lang eh. Well, I'm very thankful to technology that we can Viber, we can chat, we can give instructions and everything. But again, some of the activities that we normally do in the office, yung may high risk, tinanggal ko na muna. So, yung spend ko muna.
Prof.
Bob?
Well,
Maisha.
under a MICE, it's a bit difficult, right? Because your business is all about people and events. It's likely to be two things. So work reduction, that's one, and seek out subsidies already. And anticipate how long will this particular crisis. So if you can seek subsidies already, like in the US, it was very clear. They have an SBA, Small Business Administration, that focuses on subsidy. And in the speech of Trump very recently, he said that he's gonna ask for almost $50 billion for subsidies on SBAs. So in the Philippines, it is something that you may want to explore. Because sa Labor Department, meron sila eh. Pag nawala ng trabaho, the Labor Department will be subsidizing already. I don't know specifically how much, but it is under the law. That's why they're asking for a supplemental budget already with Congress. So you may want to explore that. And perhaps the best agency to cover will be the Department of Tourism, because that's where you are clearly aligned, no? So work reduction is one, and then possibly subsidies that you can explore with the different agencies, because DOLE has already.
It has to be government talaga eh. Kasi even in our case, kami ni Prof. Eric, meron kaming event ng March 28, pero tinamaan ng the quarantine period of 1 month. So, hindi lang kami canceled, we have to refund. Pero baka, kasi may cash flow kami. I guess the issue, and I appeal to our business leaders, look at your balance sheet or even your retained earnings of the previous year. Baka lang gusto nyo, puro subsidy and everything, ayaw nyo mag-shell out. Now is the time, you as business leaders, to shell out money that you've already earned. That's the real test. That's your metal. Baka kayo nang hihinayang na maglabas or magsuka ng inyong kinita na. Now is the time to do that.
Actually,
Now is the time to do that. So, to answer the question, I'm a little bit confused, pero I'll frame it into, kung ano ka, you have to ask the question whether the issue is transactional or the issue is operational. If it's operational, you have to continue business. How will you get customers after the COVID-19 if you're not operational? Pag matutulog ka sa pansitan ngayon, matulog ka na habang buhay. Magsara ka na. Ngayon, if it's transactional, you have to take the bitter pill, especially in MICE, in events, in seminars, kung wala tayong technology, you don't have business. I-plan nyo na, isang buwan yan during the quarantine period. And it could be even worse. Like I said, transactional, there's nothing you can do about it. Operational, it's your choice whether you want to continue the business or not.
Okay, we have another question on the other studio. Jeremy?
Okay, so we have one from online. So ito sir, medyo different naman kasi before we're asking questions regarding the continuity of our businesses. Ito naman, ang question niya is, paano po kung mag-open ang business? Is it advisable to open or to continue this month? From Jit Kinaso.
In the middle of the crisis, mag-start ako ng business.
Oh, it depends on the business. If he's in the delivery business and food, this is the best time to open. This is really a great opportunity. If he is outside the malls, I see no reason why he should not open. Because as I said, if it's food, people must eat. So it depends on what kind. Now, if he's in a business where, say, service, like if it's a service business like a spa, for instance, he has to rethink. Because spa means what? There's a lot of interaction in the spa business. And you're holed up in one room, and the possibility of transmission might be higher. So again, it depends on the industry. If it's food, if it's medical, wow, that would be a wonderful opportunity also.
If you're planning to put up a drugstore, do it.
Yeah.
Everybody is in health.
Yeah, health and wellness.
Actually, guys, ang na-observe ko dito in my part, because we have several stores. Now, my learnings here is I have to balance.
Yeah.
I have to open outside the mall. More often times outside the mall. Yung community area, high foot traffic, okay, not really depending on the mall.
Yes.
Because when I was looking at our sales, okay pa yung sales ng mga outside the mall. Oo.
Agree.
Yeah.
If I may add just lang, no, one, this is not the time to feel desperate. In the lag where there are less engagements with customers, very few customers are coming in, this is the best time to retrain our people. This is the best time to invest on new skills. This is the best time to audit and look at your P&Ls per store. This is the best time to probably rectify your stores kung may konting cash ka dyan. Again, my model there is once this outbreak ends, as if you opened yesterday.
Yes.
It's brand new. The people are highly skilled now, fully committed. So, there's always a silver lining in all of these adversities. Kaya, seize the day. This is a great opportunity to do a lot of things. Right? So, there.
I like that idea, no? Parang we're very positive and looking forward to that day na matatapos na yung outbreak, and we're relaunching all our businesses. So this is really the right time to review the operations, repair the stores. That's really a good input. Nakakatawa. Nagiging mas positive yung ating note. But I have a question, sir. Since on the franchise naman, syempre, we have a lot of franchisees, no, sir, lalo na you as a franchisor of Tokyo Tempura. So, what are the assistance that our franchisors is extending to our franchisees, especially in Metro Manila, which is greatly affected by this crisis? So, ano ba or baka you have something to recommend to our fellow franchisors na pwede nating gawin, lalo na ngayong panahon ng crisis ito, Sir George?
Well, just last night, I was talking to one of my key staff, and I told her, I need to talk to our franchisee ASAP, because last week we were still observing the effects of this situation. I told her that as part of our assistance to them, we will be waiving the service fee for 2 months muna. 2 months muna. And then after 2 months, we'll evaluate again. And if everything's okay tayo. And then tell them that we are in the same boat. We need to help ourselves. Okay? We're doing our best to talk to the landlords. Again, babalik tayo sa landlords. You talk to the franchisee, you go back to the landlords. Okay? So, I think just be in touch with your franchisee. Talk to them. Share their fears. Okay? Or teach them how to control their fears. I'm sure, marami rin yan.
Yeah, that's a good point. So damayan talaga tayo ngayon. And all the plans na ginagawa ng ating mga franchisor should be properly cascaded. No, kung ano man yung gagawin ng main office, it should be established to all our franchisees. So we have another question sa kabilang studio.
Okay, so before we proceed to another question, si Ma'am meron siyang insight from situation ni Miss Mais earlier.
Yeah, because I come from the construction business, so services. May mga deadlines ako sa mga clients ko. So it's business as usual. I'm just so thankful with my partners, no, yung support that I was able to set up yung na-localize yung mga tao ko. So for every project, may mga staff house, may everything. So hindi na mo problema sa tao, sa manpower. It's now the materials. May mga shipments pa ako, hindi ko pa napupull out. Baka bukas pa daw, maabutan na ng lockdown. We don't want to call it lockdown, but then that's what it is. So I think, no, depende yung level ng the effect on the business really depends on what type of service or products we give to our customers. But one way or another, everyone is affected. Now, because of this, all businesses needs cash flow. And I have a lot of receivables that I still have to collect. Tapos naabutan tayo nito. So, being a business owner, apektado ako. Pwede, di ba, do I have the heart to push yung mga kailangan pang magbayad sa akin, magbayad na kayo. So, but then, being business owners, no, lahat ng negosyo, kailangan pa rin nating magbayad sa SS, PhilHealth, Pag-ibig. Nananawagan ako sa inyo. Ano ba, pwede bang bigyan nyo rin kami ng palugit bilang mga negosyante, di ba? So, yun lang sana. Talagang magtulungan tayo so that government and businesses should really help each other. The various government agencies also. So, tulad ng sinabi ni Ms. Mitch, sana naman SSS will also support us, no, giving us subsidies or emergency funds in crisis like this, because not everyone has good bank reputation yet, no. Yung isa kong business is just relatively new, so how can I loan from my bank kung wala pang isang taon yung negosyo ko? So things like this. So sana from the government, various government agencies, business owners, fellow business owners that are my clients, even banks, let's all put our heart into what's happening now para tulong-tulong tayo, no? Let's be united to support para we can survive this. It's just a virus. So we're humans. Mas matibay tayo kaysa sa virus na to.
Okay, so we have one question from si Ma'am muna, nauna po si Ma'am, and then I'll go proceed after.
Hi, good afternoon. Good morning. I'm Aiza. I'm from JCI Alabang. So, as JCI Alabang, we're an organization of young people, 18 to 40 years old. So, my question is, there's a lot of us, especially sa JCI Alabang, who are members, who recently shifted from being employees to entrepreneurs. So maybe some of them this year lang nagsimula or last year lang nagsimula in the business. And siguro since they're very young entrepreneurs, they really have hindi ganun kalalim yung bulsa nila. So hindi ganun kalakas yung ganda yung cash flow nila. So what's your take, or maybe what's your advice to newly opened businesses, especially if hindi ganon kaganda yung cash flow nila? And also, what's your advice to people who are really not motivated right now or medyo demoralized because of what is happening?
So, how do I put that? So, to the new entrepreneurs, starting a business is easy. It's creating positive cash flow during the winning period. WEANING. Parang bata yan. Parang a baby business is born. Ang gagawin mo lang sa bata, padede lang ng padede, hindi pa tumatakbo, hindi pa ngumingiti, hindi pa marunong mag-spelling ng ABCD. Ganun din po ang negosyo. You don't generate enough cash flow during the early years of the business, especially if you're running a business na para bang bagito ka. So, talagang there will be what you call para bang you have to project that the business will only be getting its cash flow once it's a little stable. Ito naman ang kapangyarihan ng crisis. So, that's the reality of the game. So, there are three positions in running a business. After all, business is creating value through time. Starting a business is easy. You go into a dip, which is called the Valley of Dirt, D-I-R-T. Ibig sabihin, you get your hands dirty. Now is the test of your metal. You get your hands dirty into the nitty-gritty of business. Once you get into the Valley of Dirt, you now get into the Valley of Debt, utang. Bakit? Receivables. How do you now bridge the gap between accounts receivables mo and your accounts payables? I have to be very, very clear about financial positions here. I've been in business for, 20 years. I've been teaching entrepreneurship even in the master's degree over 15 years. So I've seen a lot want to start not for the ROE of return on equity, but on the ROE, return on ego. Now is your chance to be humbled enough. And it's a test of metal again. Once you go to a valley of dirt, once you go to a valley of death, if you don't survive, you get into the valley of death. D-E-A-T-H. You're dead. After all, 9 out of 10 businesses, start-up, fail the first time. I'm not trying to scare the new entrepreneurs, but that's the reality of the game. If you cannot get into that game, so the DNA of an entrepreneur, you get into the zone. You get into the zone, you open yourself up to the world, to the environment, you look at the opportunities together with the problems, and then you stay in the zone, even how hard it is. My good friend, George Winnicke, stayed even on the zone of the valley of death and whatever when he had, I can say that naman, di ba? Japok. To a point, a little bit of depression naman, Mentor George, di ba? But he survived. And then he tweaked even the Tokyo Tempura, without advertising, yun na rin, di ba? So, ilang version ka of Tokyo Tempura na ngayon from the time you started? Apat na.
Innovation.
The only way that you really stabilize a business is version 3 or version 4. You don't do it in version 1. Napaka-swerte mo, napaka-genius mo if you start your business good on version 1. The reality of the game, ladies and gentlemen, is version 3 or version 4. Even my IT company, we do a lot of work in the US. In fact, today is the last day to do a federal contract that I have to, but I'm here, di ba? It's my operations guys doing that. So, we know the game. So, it's not version 1, it's somewhere between version 3 and version 4. So, good luck to the newbies. You will not, ganun ang mindset, walang motivation, you will not survive this crisis.
Actually, to add to that, I think some of the newbies, the new entrepreneurs, they shortcut the golden rule. Diba normally, let's put up a business, how much is the capital?
Yeah.
Okay? In the capital, they remove the working capital. Okay? So it has to have at least 6 months working capital or a 1 year working capital. If you're a new entrepreneur now, that you have a working capital now, you will survive this crisis. It has to be there. So, that's a problem. Again, it's a learning for everybody. Let's stick to the golden rule or the rules. If you put up a business, add your working capital.
Let's go.
So we have another insight from Let's Eat Pare.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Mark Delasari. I'm the founder of Let's Eat Pare. I'm also a proud member of JCI Manila. I'm with my brothers here, right beside me. I just want to lend an insight on the food industry because Sir George mentioned that innovation is very important now to survive. I think one model that we can shift, and we've seen also, we're very trendy, in terms of food, let's say cuisines or things that are happening in Western society. And one of which is, we all know, is milk tea, no? Became a really popular, a hot trend in the food scene. And also yung mga samgyeopsal, recently fluffy pancakes, oversized cookies. But maybe we can change or shift our menu for the meantime and offer products that are immune boosting. So products with vitamin C, turmeric, ginger. So we can also help our countrymen address this problem by when they dine in our restaurants or eat our food. There's some nutrients and also some, diba, value-adding products that can help us. So plant-based diet is actually a very popular trend right now because of the Netflix show. So these are things that we can actually grab on as opportunities moving forward.
Thank you for that, sir. This area naman po. Do you have questions or insights to share?
Hello, good afternoon. Yes, my name is Kendrick from also representing JCI Manila. Just like to give an insight to, especially for those yung mga newbies, as you call them, people who's just starting. Although you've heard a lot of negative comments because of this crisis, but as I was thinking, it can also be an opportunity. Kasi during this time, everything is slowing down. You're being affected, but the market leader is also affected. During the normal time, everything is moving in such a fast pace. While you're trying to learn the business, the market leaders, the bigger companies, they're already your gap is already getting bigger and bigger while you're learning. But during this time, since everything is slowed down, so yung gap between everyone is small lang. So you prepare, use the time to prepare. So once everything ends, the crisis ends, it's a whole new race, di ba? But halos lahat kayo dikit-dikit lang. So you can overtake the ones in front of you much easier than during a normal pace. Okay. Thank you.
I think that's it, sir.
Okay, for final words, let's hear it from Dean Pax Lapid.
Ako ba muna? Ano
Sige,
gusto mo?
unahin natin si Sir George.
Okay. Fellow entrepreneurs, please, let's trust this government. I think we have two personalities in this government. Ang puso nila para sa mga negosyante. Okay? That's Secretary Lopez, no? Ramon Lopez. Okay? And also, Presidential Advisor Joey Concepcion. They know. Okay? They know. And also, we will submit, the association will submit these sound bites or information or position letter to them. Okay? So, guys, be healthy and be well. Kaya natin to.
Thank you, Sir George. Sir Eric?
I think a lot of things have been said, and the next step is how do we move forward? So we talk about the important participation of a powerful stakeholder, which is the government. So whether the government agencies from DTI to say BIR, where it's going to be tax season in a month's time, and Department of Labor, if we can have concessions and we can have supplemental budgets to support this very temporary setback, then it will also allay some fears of these entrepreneurs. So a government intervention or possibly a government support will be very critical. But more than the government, it all boils down to the entrepreneurs as a powerful stakeholder. Aside from continuously becoming healthy, it is also important for the entrepreneurs to have the tenacity and the grit Kasi that's why you're called entrepreneurs, right? You've gone through this many times in the past many years. So this is just one of those events in your cycle where you will have to face this head on. So as entrepreneurs and stakeholders, it is very critical that you simply focus. In short, hindi lang naman ikaw nag-iisa. Everybody's affected. We just have to be bonding ourselves and aligning all the intentions. There are associations who are willing to step up and represent your concerns, but collectively we should not be irrational. This, if it is a cash flow issue, we'll just have to plan ahead. Businesses that you started, alam nyo naman that it takes 2, 3, 4 years to eventually do a payback. We're barely a month, 2 months in the game. So as I've always said, it is a concern, but it is not something to really worry about. Yes, it is a concern, because if you're worried, you cannot think. If you're concerned, you can obviously have the rational mind to push this forward. So these are the stakeholders that I think are very important. At the end of the day, if you have the tenacity and the grit, any adversity is perhaps a lesson that we can always share with other fellow entrepreneurs.
Okay.
Thank you, Sir Eric. Dean Pax.
So last, huling habilin, no? So to the Philippine entrepreneurs, ano? So one is you protect yourself. You're the business leader. So sabi nga ni Presidente kagabi, itong virus na ito, hindi biro, di ba? Okay? So you protect yourself. That's very important. Because how can you lead if you're sick? Okay? 2 is you have to plan. You have to pinpoint the business issues that you have, whether that's operational, that's transactional, or that's relational. Of course, after you plan, so you make sure that you persevere, you're here for the game. You're not just here to get into the zone, you're here to stay in the zone. And of course, the last one is you always pray. So again, to the Filipino entrepreneurs, so you protect, you plan, you persevere, and then you pray.
Thank you, Dean Pax. Napakaganda ng naging discussion natin. Sana po nakatulong ang ating discussion na to, itong ating public forum to all our entrepreneurs na bigyan kayo ng pag-asa, kung paano natin iaayos at ihahanda ang ating negosyo, at kung paano natin i-relaunch once na natapos po ang ating outbreak, meron namang breakthrough pagkatapos. So, gusto po nating pasalamatan ang lahat po ng sumabaybay sa atin sa ating forum na ito. So lahat po ng sumuporta, yung ating O-Learn at yung ating Lipreneur platform, Globe My Business, Go Negosyo, and TalkShop Asia for helping us to broadcast this important forum na makakatulong sa ating mga negosyante. And I would like to acknowledge our allied partners who supported us, lalong-lalo na po ang WB Plus, led by Sir Eric Soriano, at ang lead more ni Dean Pax Lapid. Of course, ang ating official telco, Globe My Business, Go Negosyo, the Pasig Chamber of Commerce, sila Ma'am Mitch, Philippine Marketing Association, BNA Club, kasama si Miss Mais, JCI Manila, sila Sir Ken, JCI Makati, sila Sir Joey, and JCI Alabang, sila Gian, TalkShop Asia, sila Sir Rolly, at lahat po ng ating mga members who supported. Please, this will be recorded. Malalagay po to sa ating timeline. We'll continue to reshare this and continue to reshare this. And nagpapasalamat kami sa ating kaibigan, si Mark, sa Let's Eat Pare. Alam ko yung mga members ng Let's Eat Pare, maraming natutunan dito sa ating discussion. Kasi alam niyo yung mga restaurants natin, kailangan namin kayo kasi magugutom kami. So kailangan lang natin ng logistics. So again, maraming salamat po. And as we end, we would like to appeal to everyone to continue praying para po sa ating sitwasyon ngayon. Malalagpasan po natin to. And let's do our part. Mag-ingat tayo, social distance, at kung meron tayong mga nararamdaman, voluntary quarantine na tayo. At syempre, tumutok tayo sa ating radio, television, and social media kung ano yung mga updates na ibinibigay sa atin ng gobyerno. Again po, I'm Rafi Canare together with Jeremy Esquejo. President George Winicky, Professor Eric Soriano, Dean Pax Lapid, at ang ating pong mga Board of Directors na nasa kanilang mga opisina para paghandaan ang ating hinaharap na challenge na ito.
Ang tapang
Kami po ay nagpapasalamat at nag-iiwan kami ng isang hapon na magbibigay sa atin ng pag-asa para muling makabangon. Maraming salamat po and happy weekend. Maraming pong salamat.
Happy weekend.